Your bank account is bleeding out because you and your partner are fighting a war against each other instead of your debt. By midnight, one couple in your neighborhood will sign divorce papers over a hidden credit card statement. You don't need another generic blog post. You need the three-part system that stopped my own finances from collapsing. And that final, overlooked method, it is the only thing standing between you and total financial collapse. Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's get to work on your future. The first thing you need to fix isn't your budget, it's your communication. Most couples try to tackle their finances by jumping straight into a spreadsheet. That is a massive mistake. You end up staring at rows of numbers instead of talking about your actual goals. You need a dedicated time and place for this. My friends Mark and Elena tried the spontaneous check in method for years. They would just mention spending while they were cooking dinner or cleaning the garage. The result was constant, low level resentment. Every casual comment felt like a critique of the other person's choices. Then, in the spring of 2022, they started what they call a money date. It happens on the second Sunday of every month at a local cafe, away from the bills and the home chaos. They don't talk about past mistakes. They talk about upcoming goals, trips they want to take, investments they want to make, and how their savings are tracking toward their 3-year dream of buying a cabin. In 6 months, their savings rate jumped from 4% to 14%. It wasn't magic. It was just clarity. By separating the money talk from the stress of daily chores, they stopped fighting and started teaming up. You can start this today. Pick a time, pick a neutral location, and commit to talking about your future, not just your past. But here is the thing about those dates. They only work if the math supports them. That brings us to our second point, the unified budgeting model. Many people swear by the 50-30-20 rule, where you allocate 50% to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings. But that assumes one size fits all. It doesn't account for the fact that you might be a high earner and your partner might be a career changer, or that your debt levels differ wildly. Instead of fighting over whose paycheck pays for which bill, you need to consolidate your vision into one master pool. Research from the University of California at Los Angeles, published in late 2021, showed that couples who pool their money report significantly higher relationship satisfaction than those who keep separate siloed accounts. Why? Because the money stops being yours or mine and starts being ours. When you keep everything separate, you are essentially roommates with a shared lease. When you pool the money, you are business partners building an empire. You don't have to close your personal accounts entirely if that makes you feel safer, but you should shift the vast majority of your income into a shared account where all bills, savings goals, and investments are paid for. This removes the whose turn is it to buy groceries debate entirely. If this is clicking for you, hit the subscribe button. It helps me keep bringing you these deep dive breakdowns. And stick around because the next method is the one that really changes the game. All right, you've got the regular communication cycle down and you've moved to a pooled financial system. You're already miles ahead of most. But what if one of you is a spender and the other is a saver? This is where the friction usually returns. You need to implement the personal freedom fund. This is the best one. I've been saving this for you because it's the secret sauce that prevents the unified system from feeling restrictive. The mistake people make is trying to control every single cent the other person spends. If you have to ask permission to buy a pair of shoes or a video game, you're not a partner. You're an employee. That creates toxic power dynamics. The Freedom Fund solves this. You sit down during your next money date and calculate how much fun money you can realistically afford to allocate to each partner every month. It doesn't have to be equal. It just has to be agreed upon. Let's say you agree to $200 each per month. That money goes into your own individual accounts. It is yours. Do what you want with it. Spend it on coffee, gadgets, books, or save it for a year to buy something expensive. The other person is not allowed to comment on it, track it, or judge it. I saw this work perfectly for a couple named Sarah and David. Sarah was a minimalist who felt anxious whenever David bought tech gadgets. David felt like he was being parented. Once they implemented the $200 a month Freedom Fund, the bickering stopped instantly. David bought his gear without feeling guilty, and Sarah realized that, as long as the core savings goals were met, his personal spending didn't actually hurt them. It gave them the autonomy to be themselves while working toward the same future. That one shift is more powerful than any budget spreadsheet you will ever download. It turns the tension into trust. Because when you know your partner has total freedom with their fun money, you stop looking at their transactions with a magnifying glass. Let that sink in for a moment. You're not trying to manage their behavior. You're trying to manage the partnership. So, let's look at the arc we've just covered. You started by creating a dedicated low-stress space for communication through money dates. Then, You leveled up by pooling your resources to foster a sense of shared purpose and partnership. Finally, you protected that partnership by establishing a personal freedom fund that allows both of you to maintain your individual identity without triggering conflict. These three steps are not just about money, they are about how you respect each other's time, effort, and autonomy. When you stop fighting over the bills, you start building a life. And when you look at it through this lens, you realize that money isn't just about counting coins, it's about the quality of the life you're crafting together. If you found this helpful, share it with someone who is currently navigating these same conversations and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next deep dive into financial strategies for couples. I'm working on a video for next week about how to handle high debt situations when you're just starting out, and you won't want to miss that one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.